Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review. Today, we are reviewing the latest blockbuster from Apple Plus, and this one is called Finch. And here is the quick synopsis. We'll get into the cast, the director, and then we'll get to the backstory a little bit. On a post-apocalyptic Earth, a robot built to protect the life of his creator's beloved dog learns about life, love, friendship, and what it means to be human. And it stars Tom Hanks and Caleb Landry Jones, and is directed by Miguel Sapochnik, who is best known for directing multiple episodes of Game of Thrones. I don't know. I'm thinking this may be his directorial debut, but I do, as for a film, but I do know he is known definitely for directing lots of episodes of Game of Thrones. So he's clearly a big time. He directed Repo Man. I'm sorry. Miguel Sapochnik. He also directed Repo Man, the remake with Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker. Now, for this film here, quick backstory here. This film was initially supposed to be released in 2020. I want to say October 2020. It was a Universal Studios film. This was going to be released by Universal Studios. It was done by Ambient Entertainment with Robert Zemeckis, who is a main producer on this project. So this was a big-time release before the pandemic hit. Once it got pushed back by the pandemic, it ended up being bought by Apple Plus. And this is now the second film that Apple Plus has bought of Tom Hanks. The first one being Greyhound, and then we have this one, Finch. Now, as far as the film, as far as the story, this is one of the classic fall blockbuster type of films. From the heart of it, the direction of it, the performance of Tom Hanks, like this film reeks of fall blockbuster. Like that October release date for 2020 when it was a Universal film makes perfectly good sense. Because this is the type of film that after the summer rush and right before the award season push, you would drop a film like this knowing that it could captivate audiences and make them feel great about going to the theater again. Not in the sense of pandemic, but in the sense that the summer's over and it makes you feel like, okay, fall movie, big star, big name, great looking film, heart-touching story. This is a family film at its heart. And the premise of it is grim, but the movie is not remotely close to being as grim as this premise is. So at the beginning of the film, we meet Finch. And we see him going around with one of his robots as he's just scouring around looking for food for his dog. At that point, after that, we see part of what's going on in the world as a huge storm comes that threatens everything around him. And he manages to get back to his safe haven where we meet the dog. And then we also learn that he is working on creating a more human type of robot that should help him and help take care of his dog after he transitions. Because that's part of the glooming part of this film, is that we know that Tom Hanks' character isn't much long for the world in this film. Supposedly, he could be considered the last man on Earth, but there are also hints in this film where he's not the only human on Earth, but that he's isolated himself from other humans because of the ugliness of what this situation brought on to the world. So here, as he's getting prepared to transition, and he creates this robot. This robot is the best part of this film. And this one's, again, is played by Mr. I want to make sure I get his name right again, because what he did for this role is highly important. Caleb Landry Jones. So, from what I read about how this film was made, he technically played this role the entire time against Tom Hanks, and they CGI'd in the robot element into the movie. So the whole time when you see Tom interact with this robot, he's literally interacting with Caleb. And what's great about this robot is that they show in this film the progression of this robot, down to how he picks up on things, how he learns to walk, how he learns to talk, how he learns to think, but also his voice changes. So the more he learns, the more his voice takes on a more human-like sound. This literally is showing the evolution. It's like watching a kid grow up of what we experience with Tom Hanks and this robot in this film, which is amazing. And then you have a cute little dog in this film against a horrible backdrop that really works well for this film. Now, is this film great? Is this film original? Neither one of those two are true. This is not a great film. It is a really good film, but it's not a great film. And that's fine, because I don't think it was meant to be a great film. And again, with the backdrop, you would expect it to be you would expect it to be more grim. I mean, this is a post-apocalyptic world where he's supposed to be the only human, or just about the only human left. And it's supposed to be a lot of ugliness in the world. And while we see some elements of it, they decide not to go too deep in it. And from my perspective, that was a smart idea to do here. We've seen enough post-apocalyptic films where they've decided to go as grim as humanly possible on the way the world is. Here, the grim elements are more of the storms that are coming. Like, we get to the point where they decide to go on this cross-country journey to a new city because a storm is coming that's going to last for 40 days. And this is like a world-type ending storm for his world that he's built for himself. So he decides we need to go. And they pick a location. And that's when the hijinks happen. That's when we get to experience this robot who he eventually names Jeff, as he learns what it means to be human. As the underlining, like, gut-wrenching part of this film is he's teaching this robot how to take care of himself and how to take care of this dog that he absolutely loves, because he knows I'm not going to be here much longer to do it, and I need somebody to take care of him. It's an amazing connection type of film, and that's what I mean by as a family film. This is a film where you can enjoy as a whole family. There's not a lot of unnecessary death because of the environment that we're in. It's not overly dark. There are funny moments in it. This robot is hilarious in this movie, and he's hilarious just in him learning how to be a human. It's some of the funniest things in the world that happen in this movie. And then you get Tom Hanks, who comes across first as this very stern person, but as the film progresses, he clearly takes on the father role between the dog and Jeff. And that's when this film really hits a point where it's just great to watch. Again, not necessarily a great movie, but great to watch. This is like old school 70s sci-fi family-ish entertainment. It has an old school feel to it, and it is a very emotionally packed film. There are some scenes that can break you in this movie, and for some people, it will break them. Other people, it may not affect you that way, but you'll still appreciate the movie for those elements that it delivers. Now, again, for the post-apocalyptic crowd who loves the grim, who loves the dark, this movie is not for you. But for people who are looking for a nice movie to watch over the weekend, possibly with your family, which is a significant other, this is the type of film you will want to see. Again, it's an emotional gut punch at times. It's a really good performance, again, by Tom Hanks, who always gives one of those. And Mr. Jones nails it as this robot. I am blown away that he played this robot this well for this movie. So, Finch, brought to you by Apple Plus. It is dropping on November the 5th. So this Friday, November the 5th, this film is dropping. Out of a possible 10, I'm going to give Finch 7.5 out of 10. This is a really good fall blockbuster movie. And it for people who know fall blockbusters, they're not always the best movies. But these are movies that have potential to really be big, but to be bigger to a more older, diverse audience. And that's what Finch fits. This is an older, diverse family film. And this is something that I think once people give it a chance, if you have Apple Plus, definitely turn this in. If you don't have Apple Plus and you're looking for a good movie, maybe you sign up for a month to watch this. And then maybe you could check out some of the other stuff on Apple Plus. But definitely sign up to watch this movie because you'll enjoy it. And it's only $5.99 to sign up for Apple Plus. It's not even that much money. It's like renting a movie. And then you get other movies and other entertainments for that month. And then you can cancel it after you watch Finch. Or maybe you wait around and maybe Apple has more stuff for you. But either way, Please check this movie out. I think you'll enjoy it. If you don't, let us know in the comments below. This has been another JVS movie review. Peace, people.